Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into the Ms.Dria show, where I'm your host, Ms.Dria. Here I have with me Tania Montanez. Tanya, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank
Good.
you.
I'm so honored to be here.
I'm glad you came.
Thanks.
Tanya is a philanthropist. She's a marketing director, and she's also a speaker. Now, Tanya, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I was
Okay.
born in Puerto Rico, but I like to say that I'm a little bit from everywhere because I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in the Bronx,
Oh, wow.
went to high school in Tampa, went to college in Tennessee, and then I've been here for about 14 years.
Oh.
So I'm from everywhere.
Okay, okay. So, Tanya, you go around and you share your story, created with a purpose, correct? What is that about exactly?
Creative with Purpose is my personal story, testimony that I like to share. And it basically talks about how I was a victim of sexual abuse. And I talk about how that affected me throughout my life and all the things that I went through, trying to overcome that, trying to heal that brokenness. So I share how I've been able to overcome certain obstacles and certain things in my life due to that, and how I almost became a stereotype of the women who are known to be sexually abused are normally, they continue the cycle of abusive relationships. They get lured into human trafficking. They either are high school dropouts or, things like that. So I was able to overcome a lot of those things. So that's my story and what I share when I talk about Create It with Purpose.
Wow. So, how long have you been telling your story?
Well, on and off for quite some time, several years now, but it became real in my life when I turned about 32 years old, when I finally came out to my family, because there's a lot of women that are walking around carrying that brokenness,
Yeah.
and they don't share it with anyone. So I didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want to be the girl who would see someone else going through what I went through and not being able to share that with them. So I came out to my family, and it took me that long.
Wow.
To express to my family what I had been through. And then after that, I made it a purpose that I would be a voice to someone that can possibly hear my story and will not have to go through the things that I went through.
Yeah. So, what age were you when you did become a victim of sexual abuse?
Well, it happened several times throughout my life.
Wow.
The first time it happened was when I was about 3 years old. My family migrated from Puerto Rico to New York, and we were staying with family friends. And one of their sons was the one who decided
Yeah.
that he was gonna do what he wanted to do. So I was 3, and what people don't know is that when you're a victim of sexual abuse, even at that young age, it's so traumatic that I can remember, and I'm 37 years old, even to this day, I can remember specific details of what happened. At 3 years old, you don't even remember about playing with your dolls. I don't have those memories about playing with my dolls, but I do have memories of what happened to me, because that's how traumatic it is in a child when something like that happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there ever, you're touching me, was there ever a point where you tried to speak out?
Good question. Yes. There were certain times in my life that I tried to speak out, but one, I didn't want to hurt my family, because I knew it wasn't their fault. And I didn't want to make them feel like it was their fault. And I was my father at the time, I was brought up in the church, And my dad was a pastor evangelist going around and, sharing the gospel. So I didn't want to ruin that image for him and for my family. So, I always wanted to, but I felt like that was something I needed to carry and that I needed to hide. One of the things that the predator would tell me was that if you tell, I'll tell them you insinuated it.
Even at a young age?
Even at a young age.
Wow.
Oh, you're the one that wanted. So I never wanted that to come back. And that's what happens. They say, oh, if you tell, then I'm going to tell them you're lying. And they're going to believe me because I'm the adult and you're the child. So, there were many times that I tried to come out. And I came out to several friends of my closest girlfriends. But it was never in the open and never to my family until recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So until you became a grown woman.
Until I became a grown woman.
Did you ever send off red flags to...
That's very good that you asked that. I did a lot of self-study when I wanted to begin my healing process. First of all, part of my healing process was being able to completely, fully give my life to God. And that was one of the things that totally began my healing. I have to say that first. After that, I did a lot of self-study through an organization called Stop It Now, which they focus on education of sexual abuse and how to stop that within children. So I went into their programs and I did a lot of self-study, and I showed I would never forget this because there was 100 things to look out for kids who have been sexually abused. And I went down the list and literally I checked off 99 of those signs that I had. Wow. But because of the lack of education that a lot of parents have,
they can't pick it up.
They can't pick it up.
They're not aware.
One of the things that I struggled with was, as a child, do you think it's normal? And it is normal. But in me, it wasn't because it was part of the trauma was when children go to the bathroom at night in their beds, when children wet their beds. A lot of parents think that that's normal. And it could be normal, but I did it for a long time, even a little bit past the normal stage. And it was because it was trauma. I had already been through a traumatic experience. And I actually remember being so scared at night that I wouldn't get up.
Wow.
Because I was in trauma all the time, even at night in my bed, just constantly waiting for something to happen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What are some signs that parents can look for just off of the top of your head, if you remember any, for the parents out there watching? There are many signs to look for. One of the things that I commonly see is withdrawal. When your kids withdraw from you, when they withdraw from your friends, when they withdraw from people, you might want to look into it. You might want to open a door of communication and say, ask if they're okay, what's going on, and ask open-ended questions to make them feel comfortable that they're able to talk to you. Sometimes, I will never forget this either, one of the things that parents say when they go to somebody's house is, did you behave? And we think that's a normal question. Did you behave? Well, as children, if we say, no, we didn't behave, we think we're going to get punished. So we just say, yes, we behaved. But if there's a situation going on in that house and they have a predator telling that child, you better not say anything, and then you come back and ask them, did you behave well? Did you do anything bad? Automatically, that's going to stop the communication. So withdrawal is one big one. And always having an open communication with your child, about, what did you do? Did anyone touch you?
did so-and-so hug you a certain way? And it's sad to say that some of the biggest predators are some of the people that are closest to us, you know. So
yeah, wow. So you work with human trafficking,
right. The way I got involved with human trafficking was I used to have a jewelry business, which I did for several years. And I was able to go into the local strip clubs, which I'm not going to mention, because I made some pretty amazing, you know, friendship, and I touched a lot of lives there. So to honor that, we'll leave those things nameless.
Okay.
But I went into the local strip clubs, and I thought I was gonna go in to sell jewelry. You know, that was my intention. You know, I'm just gonna make some money, sell jewelry, and it's gonna be fine. But then I started to hear, you know, God speak to me and just say, there's something more for you to do here. There's a work that you need to do here. So I would go to the back and I would sit with my little table set up, but I would listen to the stories of the girls that were in the dressing room getting ready. And a lot of them were just like me. They were going through what I had been through. And my eyes started to open and say, oh my gosh, this could have been me. You know, at any minute, I could be in here, you know, doing this or being lured. So immediately I started to just seek and ask and say, why am I here for? You know, what is it that I'm here to do? So I built a relationship with the girls, and they would share with me their stories, and I would share my story, and I would just pray with them. You know, a lot of times they would be broken and on the floor, tired, and I was able to, you know, just comfort them and be a light to them, you know, and not judge them, but be there to know that there's someone that they can talk to.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why human trafficking became so important to me was because I knew that at any minute I was prime candidate for someone who was looking for a girl to lure. When men are looking, and women, because it's not only men who human traffic, women do it too. And it's not only women who get human trafficked, men get human trafficked as well into sexual slavery. So one of the things that that made me so, because I knew that I could be a victim, but I also saw it. I saw how the girls would get out there, and you have these men that shower them with money. You know, they throw their money. They're picking up the money, and then they would go to the back to give it to someone else. You know, and I didn't understand. I didn't know what that was, you know. And then I would notice how, you know, some guys would come and they would pull the girls, and they would, you know, just talk real hard to them. I didn't know what was going on. And then my eyes opened up and said, you're seeing it firsthand, what it is to see someone who's being slaved and sold into the sex trafficking lifestyle.
Wow.
And unfortunately, in the strip club industry, it's a big market for human sex trafficking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because we mainly think that, you know, if a girl is in the strip club and she's stripping, it's her choice. But sometimes, majority of the time is what you're saying, it's the other way around.
Right.
Wow.
I actually met very little bit of girls that were there on their own.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would be a message that you would tell any young person watching who is being sexually abused or has been, even adults, because, you know, we learn things every day, just to get over it and get through it?
One of the main things that I like to share is don't be ashamed. Because for years, that's what I also dealt with, was shame, embarrassment. You know, am I the only one? Is this, you know, why me? Am I not worth anything? You know, why did I always feel like I always had to get touched and you know, when it was unwanted? So don't feel ashamed of what you went through. accept it and seek healing. And I think that's a big thing, you know, seek healing, seek someone that you can talk to, that you can share your experiences with, that you can share your hurt with. It's okay to cry. I mean, even to this age, sometimes I still cry because of what happened, but that's okay. That's part of my healing process, you know? It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. But when you go through that moment, get up again. Yeah. You know, get back up again. And part of your healing is also being a light to someone else. You know, don't just hide it. Don't just keep it inside, but share it with someone, because there's someone else that needs to hear your story. Yeah. You know, there's someone else that needs healing. So why not become the miracle that you are looking for? Sometimes you're sitting around waiting for a miracle, waiting for something to happen, waiting for a healing. We can become that to someone else just by sharing our story. So that's what I would encourage people to do, and live your life with purpose. That's just what it is. Regardless of what you went through, your past doesn't determine your future. You know, whatever your parents spoke over you doesn't determine your future. Whoever touched you in the past doesn't determine your future. Whatever, you know, adult abusive relationship you've been through doesn't determine your future. All of that, you can leave that in the past, you know, and you can start right now, this very minute, as I'm speaking to you, you can start to live your life on purpose and make a decision to change someone else's life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Oh my goodness. So, what is it that, like, do you consider yourself healed, or because you are going around, you know, you're attempting to offer that healing to others, but you're still dealing with it yourself?
You know, healing is a process. You know, some people can get instantly healed. Some people, you know, it's a process. And I'll kid you not, I heard this lady who is an amazing speaker. She's actually one of the pioneers in the human trafficking industry, called Christine Kane. Okay. She's the founder for the A21 campaign. And I was so honored to hear her speak one day. And as soon as she said these words, I was I just dropped, because she says, you know, she travels all over the world and she speaks in front of thousands of people. So you think, she's okay. You know, wow, she's over it. She's doing her thing and she's healed. You know, we think that. And as soon as she said what I'm about to share with you, it tore me apart. You know, like, it changed my world. She said, every morning when I get up, I'm literally one breath away of just not being able to make it. Because it's hard. It's a struggle. You know, every morning when you get up, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I relate it to that, because there are mornings when I would wake up and I'd be like, I don't want to. You know, I don't want to get up. I want to be here, and I want to sit here, and I want to feel depressed, and I want to feel bad about myself. But you have to overcome those things, you know, and you have to speak positive things into your life. You know, the way I do that is I speak the word of God over my life, you know, and I know, and I speak Bible scriptures into my life, and I say, you know what, God's plan for you is to prosper you, give you a future, a hope, and a purpose. And doing those things allows me to get up every morning. So it is a process. Yeah. You know, I've come far. I've come far enough to where I'm able to share my story for 20 minutes and not cry. You know, before it used to be like, 5 minutes and I was bawling, you know. So I have come far, but I realize that the more I share and the more I'm able to touch someone else, the more I get healed. You know, the more I say, God, this is my purpose. This is what you created me to do, was to share. So my healing is coming. Yeah. And I might live with it forever. I don't know. But I do believe that my healing is a process. And I'm enjoying the process.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So I know that you recently went to Honduras.
Yes.
And you're going there. What is your mission?
Well, when we went to Honduras, we went to go share with a town called Olanchito, Honduras.
Okay.
It was through an organization called God Came to See You, Dios vino a verte in Spanish. And we went to share with kids that actually live in the trash mines of that neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty impressive. I mean, it was a pretty big shock when we saw naked kids running around between the trash of the city, where they go dump the trash. So I was able to go there, me and a group of friends, we were able to go and just share and be a light to those kids and just love on them. And there was 3 of us that went, and this is what happens when you put your mind to something. There is nothing that can stop you. There was 3 of us that we said, you know what, we want to go, we want to do this. And in just about 6 months, we were able to raise enough money to go on the trip, and we were able to raise enough money to give to the organization to feed the kids. We had a medical brigade, so all the kids in the village got treated. They got to see doctors. They got prescriptions. So we were able to share so that they can continue in the building of what they're trying to do is a community, kind of like a community cafeteria where they were going to be able to feed more people. So we got to give so that they can continue to build. So we did all of that in Honduras, and we are looking to go again.
So you do. I'm sorry. You have a GoFundMe page set up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell the people where they can go.
Absolutely.
To fund you.
If you're interested in wanting to help us with our Honduras mission trip, you can go to www.gofundme.com/Help Honduras 2015. And if you're interested in going, we are looking for a team to put together so that you guys can join us and help us out. You can also find me on Mavuno, Mavuno on Facebook. So look at the page and they can go on there. And if they're interested, just inbox us on there. And if you want to come, you're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you. Do you have any, besides the Honduras trip that you're planning, do you have any events where you may be speaking or anything else coming up?
I am going to be speaking at an event in January.
Okay.
So kind of when the holidays are over. So I will be, you can stay tuned to my page, Mavuno. I'll say it again, Mavuno. Mavuno is actually Swahili for harvest.
Okay.
And I base it out of the scriptures, Galatians 6:9, that talks about do not grow weary in doing good unto others, for at the proper time you shall reap Mavuno. You shall reap a harvest if you don't give up. So just stay tuned to the page and I'll be able to share where I'm going to be in January.
Okay. Any social media you would like to give out?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm on Tania, Tania Montanez, Montenez. And you could Google me. I'll pop up. I'm there.
Okay. I just want to thank you so much for coming by the Ms.Dria show and sharing your story and everything, because whether you know it or not, you've just shed light on someone else's situation and help them out.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being a vessel, for bringing people like me to the show. And I just pray that more people will come through here that will be able to touch more lives of the audiences that's looking. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have more of the Ms.Dria show.